Sit back and relax. We listen to Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and along with my co-hosts Dan and Steve, we take you all around the world of miniature wargaming. On tonight's episode, Dan and I are here, and the plan is to go over a bit of the update that GW did for Warhammer 40k. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Dataslate changes, the what are they called? The Munitorum or whatever it is.
Munitorum, yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be discussing all those sorts of things. The point of this is to be able to talk about what some of the changes are, what we like if there's anything we don't, what we think maybe still needs to be fixed, and where we think it actually leaves the game 40k right now. This was a document that was absolutely needed. People were waiting on this because we all saw what Eldar and some of the other ones were doing. Although, we'll also discuss a little bit about why win percentages are not really a good metric to look at, and there's good reasons for that, but we'll get to all of that.
Like we've discussed that before too, and like not ad nauseum, but we definitely made mention of I brought up what was the stupid website? Now I can't remember. Stat Check.
Yes.
How you should go to Stat Check and instead of just looking at win percentages, break it down by like win percentages against like whom, for example.
Well, yes, that's more helpful, but even that can be a little problematic. We'll get into a bit of that as well. If we'll get to anything else, we'll see. We don't really know how long this is going to take, and if it ends up being real fast, we'll talk about some other stuff. But otherwise, now on to the show. So for anyone who's not watching off of the YouTube where you can see our cameras, Dan's searching for something. He has not found what he's looking for.
I swear I had it in front of me. I had this stupid contrast, like glacial blue, in front of me, and I think because my daughter was playing with these paints, and I'm like, I know I'm not crazy.
Did you ever watch The Simpsons?
No, I actually, funny enough, I never got into it.
So there's at one point where Homer's going around. He's like he's at a cemetery or something like that, I believe. And he's probably like, "Oh man, I really wish I could get a hot dog right now." And Marge is like, "Why would you be able to get a hot dog here?" And then there's a hot dog guy. She's like, "Wait, do you just follow my husband around?" He's like, "Yeah, kid, lady, your husband's putting my kids through college. You are single-handedly putting someone, the inventor of contrast paints, their children through whatever school system they want to have."
No, but seriously, I had this paint in front of me. Like, give me 1 second.
All right. All right. Well, Dan goes and looks for a paint because he can't do more than
I knew
one thing at a time.
I knew it. I had to think of my daughter. She was looking at the Infinity models because she was loving the way they were painted and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, "What color did you use?" And that's why I was over there, because I was like, "Oh, I got to show her what color this was." Okay.
All right.
My goodness. I was having a literal conniption because I knew I had it down here ready to go. Oh my God. It's been a week.
It's only Monday. Just for anyone who doesn't know, it's Monday.
It's Monday. God damn.
You were a little off the camera mark. You want to be a little bit more centered. There you go. That's good. All right. It's where I place the things. They're a little bit
Gotcha.
So how have you been on a literal single day that's already crushed you?
No. It's good. We just started school on Friday.
Wait, your first day was Friday?
It was supposed to be a full day. It turned into a half day because of the heat.
Why do they hate the students to start on a Friday? That's evil.
I don't know, man. But so technically today was really the start of the first day. So it actually went really well. Kids were back, excited to see everyone. It actually was really, it was cute to see them again. You know what I mean? Looks like they had a good summer.
That lasted like a day.
No, it looks like, what's weird? Last year, our sixth graders, right? We had maybe one class was the smallest class of 27 kids, right? And that was the smallest. That was the smallest class. And now what the weird part is that I have like a class of like 14 kids. But the problem is, but the problem is our seventh grade class, which used to be our sixth grade class last year, are now all completely like overbooked. I think I have a class of 30, just literally a class of 30. Wow. And it's tough. But you know what? I don't know.
We're usually capped at like 25, which most of my classes actually are at the cap of 25. So Calculus 3, that one's only got like
I'm surprised Calculus 3. I was surprised Calculus 3 has so many.
Well, no, we only offer one section a semester. So if you need it, that's the one time you can take it.
Got it.
We got about 50 students in my Calc 2s together. But not all students after Calc 2 need Calc 3. Not all of them make it through Calc 2. So, surprise,
I hated Calc 2. Calc 3 was great. I loved Calc 3. Calc 2 sucked.
That's like what I tell them, and that's what my
Yeah,
belief, both when I was a student as well as now. Calc 3, if you can get the ideas in 1 and 2, 3 is just adding a dimension,
yep,
which
that's
we have to change the way we talk about certain things, maybe the way we reference them, but the overall concepts don't change. They really don't.
nope.
Whereas Calc 2 is, as I tell them usually, this is the first math class where you have to actually try. You
Yeah,
can, if you can take, and this for anyone who maybe is a student out there, Calc 1, very simple. Learn to take a derivative. If you can take a derivative, you can take
it's true.
90% of the class. You legitimately can. You can, I'm not saying you'll get an A if
He's
that's
not
all you can
lying.
do, but you'll get a B if all you can take is a derivative. You don't even have to understand what it does. Calc 2, that falls apart. That idea no longer works because there's not nicely defined rules of do a step-by-step process.
Nope.
Since you need that critical thinking, you need to be able to understand the problem, you need to be able to do subtle or non-subtle manipulations to make it work. Now you actually have to really apply that critical thinking, and that's where people start to falter. But if you can get through that, Calc 3 is reasonably easy, all
The
things
easiest
considered.
way I likened it was it's like basically I loved Orgo and I hated inorganic because of the same exact idea. Organic was very much simplified formulas. You either knew the formula or you didn't. You knew the rotations or you didn't. You knew the angles or you didn't. And then inorganic was like, haha, remember all that stuff you learned in organic chemistry?
Yeah,
Screw you. We're changing all of that. And it's just it was nonsense.
yeah. I mean, that Orgo versus non is another thing entirely because that's another very rough point for a lot of people.
Yeah, I had loved Orgo. I think I was one of the top scorers in Orgo.
Which is rare.
Absolutely
Most people do not like organic chemistry.
I also had I cheated, not cheated, but I had organic chemistry in high school. I
Oh, okay.
I had actually 2 years of organic chemistry taught by the wonderful, one of my favorite, Dr. Magadi, who was a guy who started teaching, but he originally worked for the same guys who made. He was on the team that developed Claritin. That was actually our
Okay.
final exam to develop Claritin. Not in the school, obviously, but like on a math formula or not on a paper to develop Claritin from a benzene, which was a super. That was such a cool final exam.
Hmm.
But he also, the reason I like it is he also taught physics, by the way, because Dr. Magadi, if you could probably tell from the name, had this thick Bronx or Brooklyn accent. I can't remember what it was, but that man was just the funniest. Like the way he would speak and talk about formulas and stuff was great. I'll always remember we were in physics and he's like, all right, so listen, you got your one mook of a taxi cab over here, okay? And then that mook runs the red light, doesn't see the other, and he's traveling 50, and that's how he would teach. And it was just so enrapturing as a student to hear this like dude just go off in a New York accent. It's such a good dude. What know he's doing. He's probably definitely retired by this time.
I would think so.
He's
Yeah.
the reason I went into science. I mean, I left science for a different reason, of course, but he's actually the 1,000% reason why I actually went into science. Literally because of him. He made
My
it that fun for me.
my high school chemistry teacher, who I took for both that and I took him for essentially college AP chemistry, although we were getting college credits instead of exactly AP. We didn't take the AP exam. He always called people pineapple heads. I don't know why. It was almost
That's
like
so
he
great.
treated it like a sort of a derogatory term for people from Hawaii, because that's for whatever reason his reference. I don't know why. I don't know if it is derogatory to people who are from Hawaii. I hope not.
It's such
But
a
for some reason, that was his
random.
thing. Yeah, he was a weird old guy.
That's great.
Um,
Yeah, I love. You always find random teachers like that in your life. They're just like sometimes. I hope that sometimes I'm like that. I've been told I'm like that sometimes. That I got people into history because of the way I taught them in middle school. Because now I've had kids in college I've met. Went into like a doctor's office and there was a girl there who's already married with a kid, and she goes, "I remember, you were my teacher in middle school." I'm like, "I remember you, Nicole. You were great." And she goes, "Yeah, I'm married with a kid," and like you could feel my, like the meme of like the person aging on the Titanic, like the main character
yes,
aging. That was basically me. She goes, well, she asked me, she goes, "Well, how's your fiance?" And I'm like, "You mean my wife, whom I have a four-year old child with?"
that's weird. It's like she couldn't imagine your life had progressed, although hers had.
Yes, it's like it's weird. It's kind of you're stuck in it, but I was
That's
like,
very
oh,
true.
yeah. But she goes, it was just cool, And she was telling me, oh, you did this and this. And I'm like, I don't remember any of it. It was just, you smile a little
It,
bit.
it happens a lot more if you teach younger grades, where
Yeah,
students almost have this impression that you turn to dust the moment you walk out the door, like you don't
pretty
exist
much.
outside of the
You don't
room.
exist.
I have had that before where a student has seen me in like the real world and they're like, they seem like shocked, like I do things like, yeah, Like, I don't just live in this building.
I
But I
don't
think
live
when they're
here.
younger, you get it a lot more because they kind of see you as almost like a mythical being to some extent.
Yeah.
So,
It does bring a joy to my face. That's why I mean I love teaching. I hate teaching, but that's definitely one of the things where I'm just like brings me joy. You know,
yeah. Well, anything has its ups and downs, and those
everything.
sort of
Yeah,
moments are
exactly.
the ups.
Definitely.
All right. So, we are going to get into this data slate, and when we're done with that, we'll see what kind of time we have left. Maybe we'll talk some other stuff. We'll find out for sure. But just to briefly go over, so this was released as of recording about by the time this comes out, just about a week ago. Not quite a week ago, probably about 6 days from the time you'll see this. Hopefully, people have a chance to kind of look through it, maybe even get a game or two in, and kind of get a feel for this. Um, as to kind of date this, it is the 11th of September right now, and we are also waiting on the Tyranid Codex, which again, GW doesn't love us enough to send us some stuff. Maybe
Oh,
one day they will. Not trying to make them feel bad, but if making them feel bad will help, I'll make them feel bad.
exactly.
Although the other thing we have to talk about that is the changes to the app, but we'll get into. Actually, you know what? Why don't we talk changes to the app first? Because that's
Yeah,
real fast.
absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
So they put out an article on the 7th that talks about how the app is now going to work. And essentially, if you still do the pure freebie, that is okay to an extent. You can still access basic rules, you can access all that sort of stuff. The big problem is you can only build one army list, like a total of one. And if you want more army lists, you got to delete the old ones. And if you currently have your free account that has more army lists in it, they won't get rid of them, but you can't make any more until you get rid of those. So if you're someone who's just kind of like brand new to it, kind of messing around a little bit, that's an option. If you want to be able to get the full and great version of the thing, then you need a Warhammer Plus subscription. What is it $5 a month? You have it. I don't have it.
I know. I'm trying to remember. So
You pay
it's.
for it. You don't even know.
I know. Shit. Oh, God damn it! It just renewed too. If I
So
put
you
my
just
subscription.
paid for it again. You don't even know how much they're charging you
No, you know why? Because okay, I know. I don't know how much it is.
because you're frivolous with your money.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's because you also get the free model. So I usually tend to subtract that from the subscription price because even if I don't get the model, I'll sell it for $30. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, $60 per
Yeah.
year.
So yeah, $5
So
a month.
$5 a month.
Yeah.
So but you get a free model, which is usually how much are individuals? $30? 35?
Around there, yeah, probably about the 35 marks.
35
Probably
mark, but
more
I'll sell
common
it for
now.
30 to people, then boom, that's 30. So it's really only for me like $2 a month, $2 a month. Because I usually don't keep the model. I did keep the assassin, but other than that, I sold the corn dude.
Yeah.
And then I think Brett wants the wizard that I don't need. So yeah, it's just I give those to people or sell those people, and then I pocket the money, and boom, that just makes the subscription cheaper in my eyes.
Yeah. I have absolutely no problem. Okay, I mean, there's always the wish everything was free in the world, sure, but I have no problem with the fact that they're going to try to lock the Battle Forge behind the Warhammer Plus because you know what? If you're going to make the app continue to be good, work well, $60 a year, you also get the Warhammer Plus, so you have some content. Now there is some content because it's been out for a while. You get a model. I think that's a good value. I have no problem with that as a value. And
And
if
I
you really
agree.
don't want to spend it, you can still at least have one list and there's some other options out there. You Battle Scribe now actually does have some 10th edition stuff. There's some other army builders that are coming out or out. There's
Oh, I
another
didn't even hear
one.
about those. All right.
What was the one? I was using it the other day. Let me see if I can find it real fast. I was just messing around with it. New Recruit. It's called New Recruit. It's a web based. Doesn't have a
Okay.
separate app, but it's essentially a web based program that is fully updated. You can obviously use that. So there's good options, but I do like their option. I do think that's good. What
I
I
hear a
don't
butt,
like.
and that's it. There it
Oh yeah,
is. I
yeah,
was gonna
yeah. No,
say
the big
there's a
problem
butt, and it's probably the same
is
butt that I have.
it's the codexes, the way they're doing those.
Yep.
So
Yep.
for
Yep.
anyone
Yep.
who doesn't know, people probably do. Codexes for now. So indexes are entirely free. You can access everything in index, and if it's in an index only, you can still get it. So things that were from just Forge World and things like that that aren't in the main book, boom, all accessible. Still will always be accessible. But when you get a new codex, they did this in Age of Sigmar as well. But when you get a new codex, the inside cover of the book is going to have an access code. You input that access code to be able to get all the information. You will still get some information, but the rule parts are locked out. So you could technically build a list, but you can't see what any of the models do. Tyranids are the first ones with this. So if you look at the Tyranid book, that information is actually missing. So when your app updates, because if you do update it, the index stuff is actually gone. It's not like you even just use it. It's gone. You are now on the codex part, and you have to input the code to be able to access it. One of the problems they did is they did this before the codex is in people's hands. So right now, if you updated your app, you are locked out of Tyranids unless you have an access code, which you won't get until this weekend. So you actually can't really use it. I don't think there's any reason to do this whatsoever. They don't need to lock them back with this. I think it's insane.
What they could have locked. So what they do there's, I will talk because I do use the Sigmar app as well. The Sigmar app is slightly different. Yes. They don't lock the rule models. They don't lock. So if you purchase,
it's army rules, not model rules.
Exactly. So you could still play the model rules and not know what the army does, which is fine. If you want to just play the army as is to get a feel for how they feel before you play it, see how it feels. You like it, you don't like it, then you buy the codex or battle tome technically. Boom, now you have access to like what they do, right? My issue, and I think most people's issue, is they didn't even do that. The model rules are locked out as well. They're just completely gone. And like I said before, this is before the codex was even released.
Yes.
So it's listen, I will give GW credit where credit is due, and I will, punch GW where punching is due. And this is definitely one of those punching times. This is bullshit. Because at the end of the day, like I bought Tyranids, right? And now that I have to wait until Saturday for that release of the rules to even just get a code is just utter. It's horse shit. It's horse shit. And I am surprised that GW hasn't like kind of gone back on this, because sometimes when they do stupid shit like this, they'll be like, "Oh, we're bad."
They'll go back on it if people don't buy it, but people are going to buy it. I would think. Maybe they won't. That's the only reason they'll go back, is if a bunch of people end up saying no and the sales go down from it.
Yep. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
It's a bad precedent, and the reason it's bad is because there's so many games out there that now do rules for free, because they've realized that the rules aren't the selling feature. It's the models, it's the experience, it's the world around it. There's a variety of other things. Because the other problem is, I from the starter box, I have some Tyranid models. I haven't started building them yet, but if I don't have rules to look at, then how do I know the way I want to put things together? The first thing I get is never a codex. That's never my first priority. My first priority is the models. My first priority is building that up, trying to get a feel for what I like, and then I invest in those sort of things. The same way as I always tell people when they first show up to like a store, if they're new to it, no, get models first. Don't get the book. Yeah. We'll help you out with the book. We'll help make sure that you have what you need to be able to sit down and play, but you need the models so that, that's the evergreen stuff. The books are not. So I really don't like this. I don't think anyone does. And I understand they're a company. You vote with your hobby dollars. Personally, I would vote against it. I don't plan on picking stuff up. And it makes it tough for people who want to create content, because, like I said, GW doesn't send us anything for free right now. And I'm not going to pick up the stuff for all these different books. Not a chance.
Yeah. And what really kind of rubs the salt, and this is maybe because I very distinctly remember them saying that
they said this would happen. They said they would charge people this way.
But I don't remember them saying that models would be locked.
They did.
Oh, they did?
Said when the codexes come out, it's going to essentially be locked. They might not have said it quite the same way, but this was what was going to happen, unfortunately. Yeah.
I don't see why they changed it from Sigmar. Literally, Sigmar, I don't mind the Sigmar way. Give me the model rules, right? Give me the model rules and lock the army rules.
40K that way is the cash cow. So if you want to they probably figured people get around it in Sigmar. If you do it this way, they don't get around it the same way. Now, there's Battlescribe. There's other ways to grab some of that, and to me, yeah, that's a valid option.
Websites.
Yeah. There's some valid options there, but I want the app to be good. I don't mind paying the $5 a month for it. That's fine if they just do that, or do like War Machine used to do. Hey, here's a flat amount. If it's like $60, you get all the rules. You get every single thing, no matter what. Other things have done that, and I understand apps cost money to develop, but that's also sometimes just the price of doing business.
Okay, so hold on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut you off there. Yes, apps cost money to develop. Mm-hmm. But then, I've been playing Infinity recently. That app is wonderful and completely free.
Most apps are.
Yeah, and completely free. But if I want to know what my opponent is breaking, I literally don't have to ask him. I can just pull up the app, say, "What is that? A young he?" Sure, pull it up. Right? I don't even need to look at his list. He can just tell me what it is, and boom, I could have the rules in front of. Oh, look at that!
And
He's got this and this. Okay, that's cool. I don't need to input a code. Like, and the app is good. It's not like it's glitchy or anything. It
no,
works.
that's good. And to me, that's one of the biggest things. If I
Yeah.
want to know what you do by these rules, I can't look. I won't know it. Now, I'm assuming they're also going to do some new data cards. Maybe that's another option and things like that. But if I want to know what you do, I want to be able to look that up. Like you mentioned the Infinity app, the Conquest
Yeah.
app, Parabellum Games one is
Oh,
great.
sorry,
Everything
Conquest.
is in
Yeah,
there.
Conquest. Yeah.
And if I can have my list in there, I can look through them. If you have something, I can look it up. So there's other people who do it, and I think that's just some of the good faith that you want to get with the people who play your game. I think that stuff really helps. I think there's
Yeah.
ways if you want to charge that you can do that doesn't cause a feel bad situation. Unfortunately, I think the way they've went about it is.
Yeah,
And
it feels bad.
I
I'm
said,
not.
vote with your hobby dollars, and if you don't like it, don't buy them.
Yep.
Show them that this makes a difference. So, but saying that also means though, when you do like things, you have to buy it. So like you can't just go like full nothing. Like if you don't like the way they're doing the app, don't buy that part. But show them
Yep.
that what you do like. If you like the models, there's some great models coming out, great Tyranid models coming out this week.
I will say that is very true because then the same people who complain about the app will go around and 3D print models, which I don't have
Yes.
a problem with. Listen, I don't have a problem with 3D. I play with sometimes 3D printed models myself, aka like BattleTech, like printing MechWarrior Online designs.
Yes.
But realize that you realize the hypocrisy, if I will.
Yeah. If you want something to survive, you have to support the parts you want and objectively go against the parts that you do not. That's the way you actually show support. But that's a brief of just how all of that's working. On to happier things. Briefly talking about an overview of the they gave this as the MetaWatch, Balance, Dataslate, all of that's the first one. They put out an article again on the 7th talking about it overall. And a few of the big changes, we'll go over in more detail. They changed the way devastating wounds work, and they'll
Thank
get
God.
into a little bit of why that is the case. I think it's a great change in general. It is really, really good.
100% agree. Yep.
They talk about Overwatch being a little tougher to get. They talk about Titanic not being able to use Overwatch, so they thought Overwatch good to be able to have, but a little too strong. They talked about, well, hey, if you're towering, you can actually get some cover now from it. You can lose some line of sight behind ruins and all. So towering doesn't necessarily see absolutely everything all the time, which is kind of what it became on the board. They talk about some of the armies a little bit. Gene Stoller Colts no longer get freebie units forever.
Thank God.
They talk about armigers are the only ones who gets the bondsman's ability because Imperial Knights were outperforming Chaos Knights and some other factions. Armies that needed to go up like Death Guard, Votan, Mechanicus, all got some good stuff, and we'll take a look at some of the things they got. And then they give you where you can download the documents themselves. So we're going to start with the balanced data slate, and then after that, we are going to get into a little bit of the points. All right. So this probably affects you the most. Do you want to discuss the change to devastating wounds?
Absolutely. Because I don't know. I've had a long discussion with this on the Discord, and I've tried to math it out, but God knows I hate math. Um, so let's talk about the first of all. One of the biggest changes was devastating wounds. So for those who don't know, devastating wounds originally on a wound roll of 6 would turn that into a mortal wound. Now, just to kind of talk about mortal wounds, because this actually, not to go off on a tangent, but just to realize, mortal wounds essentially ignored invulnerable saves and they ignored armored saves. And the big thing was the mortal wound would bleed, quote unquote. So instead of doing, let's say you did 3 mortal wounds, right? And you had a 1 wound model in the unit, it would kill 3 1 wound models because mortal wounds were applied at the end, essentially.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't do 3 mortal wounds to a 1 wound model. It would do 1 mortal wound, okay, done. 1 mortal wound, okay, done. 1 mortal wound, okay, done. So it killed 3 individuals. So let's say you did 12 mortal wounds, right? And you had a squad of 4 3 wound models, it would actually kill all of them. It would bleed into the models, okay?
Yes.
So that's kind of a big what devastating wounds was. Now, devastating wounds have changed completely. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if that attack scores a critical wound, a wound of a 6, by the way, no saving throw of any kind can be made against the attack, including invulnerable saving throws. So that really hasn't changed. Such attacks are only allocated to models after all other attacks made by the attacking unit have been allocated and resolved. And there's your big major change. Now, the mortal wound no longer essentially bleeds.
Yeah.
So let's say I do 3 mortal wounds to you.
Well, okay. Let's.
Oh, go ahead.
Careful with that. Mortal wounds still do. Devastating are not mortal wounds anymore.
Devastating
That's
are not mortal
distinction.
wounds. Sorry. Yeah. So devastating wounds are no longer mortal wounds, and they're done at the end. So essentially, let's say I roll a 6 on devastating wounds. They're no more mortal wounds, so they don't bleed essentially. They're still applied at the end after all other attacks have been made, but because there's no longer that mortal wound component, it no longer bleeds essentially. So that's using the 3 mortal wound example. I hit 3 mortal wounds on an Imperial Guard squad. It will no longer go mortal wound, done, mortal wound, done. It'll now just say 3 mortal wounds on one model. Oh, he only had 1 wound? I overkill him by 2.
Yep.
Now, I love this change. I hate this change, and then I love this change.
You just don't like it because of you think it does something bad to
custodes. I'll get to them in a moment. That's not the reason I actually hate it, believe it or not.
Okay, good.
The big reason I don't like it is because it killed mortal wounds too much. Now, this sounds weird, but bear with me. A lot of stuff had devastating wounds, right? Yes. Not many things in the game, and I think it's like, actually, when I say not many, I mean like a very small percentage cause native mortal wounds.
Yes.
Right?
It's rare.
But because you have taken away devastating wounds with such a large regard, things that should have done mortal wounds are no longer doing mortal wounds. So, for example, I used like the Death Watch example of them doing devastating wounds on their bolters. That shouldn't have happened. I don't mind this version of devastating wounds on them. This is much better, in my opinion. But then you look at Eldar D cannons, and I know people will scream at me because Eldar should be nerfed or whatever, but Eldar D cannons have always been, mortal wounds, essentially. That's what they're warp cannons. That has been a thing since 4th edition, or 3rd edition even, right? Rolling a 6 to wound will just kill something. What they could have done there is just say you can't use 6s on Eldar mortal wounds. Like you can't use your fate dice on that. Does that make sense? So it could only be native 6s.
Yes, but that just causes more complication, and true. I don't want more complication in the rules.
Understood. But the thing is, I feel like by doing a blanket devastating wound removal, mortal wounds no longer exist in the game. Now, let me go to Custodes real quick, because I play that army. This is a weird horizontal balance, and I literally have no idea which way it falls. So let me explain. Custodes are priced the way they are because their native army ability is a 4-up feel no pain against mortal wounds. That was kind of their army rule, essentially, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, you're paying 1 million points per model, but mortal wounds can't kill you as easily as they do other armies, right? That was the big thing. Now, if you do devastating wounds, you're still paying the Custodes price for it, but you're no longer getting the invulnerable save or feel no pain. But on the flip side, they're not bleeding into the squad. So like if you do 12 mortal wounds to me, congratulations, you've killed 1 model, right? Versus if you do 12 mortal wounds to me, 12 devastating wounds, sorry. If you've done 12 devastating wounds to me, this is the problem. I'm trying to switch. Remember the old one. If you do 12 devastating wounds to me, right, it'll kill 1 model. That's a devastating wound that's 12 damage.
I say 1 shot that's 12 damage.
12 damage, that's devastating wounds.
Yeah, just to make sure this is clear for everyone, it's still a per attack thing. So if your weapon is a 2 damage attack, they are by 2s. Yes. But you no longer, essentially, you don't get the full gambit. You get them in groups of 2s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like if you do 12 damage to me with a devastating wound, it's only going to kill 1 custodian model, and that's great, right? And that's the good part. So I went bad, good. But then back to the bad, there's nothing in the game really that does above, 5 to 6 mortal wounds. Most of the mortal wound things are 3 to 4, right? Or sorry, I shouldn't say, damn it, I keep saying mortal wounds. Most of the devastating wounds are 3 to 4. Which are going to kill a custodian anyway. And now we don't have a save. Yes. So I'm kind of like...
It was a good decision. What it boils down to.
Yes, it was. It was a good decision.
Yes.
but then doubled with. Well, we'll talk about custodians later because they got points
No,
hijacked.
they needed to though.
They needed to.
So
But
here's the thing though
yeah,
to keep in mind. When you balance something, because I know there's other spots where people are talking
Yeah.
about we weren't even near the top. Why are we getting balanced? Because if you suddenly nerf the people at the top, the ones who are next up then become way too good for
the way
everyone.
too powerful.
That's
Exactly.
that's why these changes, Custodes didn't get a rules change to change their thing to be devastating. They kept it with mortal because the idea is, well, if we lower Eldar, Gene Stealers, and maybe Imperial Knights, Custodes now are the
It
new
would be
absolute
too
best.
much. I agree. Oh,
They
no,
would
I
be the top.
100%
So,
agree.
we do this, so they actually get
But
worse.
they probably
we lower
would,
other things, so they get worse.
I bet you anything, it'll be like it'll change from a 4 up to like a 6 up or a 5 up, and it'll do all devastating wounds. Like they'll change it from a 4 up to something higher.
We might see that when their book comes out at some point in the future. But that's why they didn't get a change to help this, because they didn't need the help.
It's just from my point of view, it's weird because again, it's a weird kind of hey,
it's a downgrade.
Those 12 devastating wounds.
No, it is a flat downgrade.
It is. And that then coupled with the other nerfs that we got, which we'll talk about much later. Actually, I think it's in the balanced data sheet.
It is.
Hold on.
All of those changes are in there.
It was a little too much.
No, it wasn't.
Although I don't think it's going to hurt us in the. Oh no. There's other things too, Dave. Did you notice our squad sizes?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So it's a lot of different things that I feel might have been a little much, but we'll talk about that when we get to custodians.
The reason why I feel all that was absolutely necessary is because when everyone above it got changed, if they didn't change them, their win rate was going to shoot through the roof. Because their win rate, and again, this is why win rates are not really a good metric. Their win rate was essentially what it was in the 50s or wherever it was because of those top tier armies. It's the same problem that, say, Necrons had. They tweaked Necrons, and they came out and said this, not because Necrons were amazing, but because of what we did to everyone else, they will become amazing. So we have to lower people. That's the same reason why sometimes if you're not near the top, you still get hit with the Nerf bat, because they don't want you now to be the new thing that's crushing everyone. So I'd always rather an overcorrect than an under, and if it turns out it's a little too much, they can scale back. But we don't want to change one overlord for a new one.
Well, it makes sense.
Yep.
But it's just that's from my perspective what it is. It's a little too much of an overcorrect, but that's usually GW's modus operandi.
I don't think it's going to end up being too much. I think because of where other things were. We'll have to wait and see. But I honestly really don't think it will.
Votan did go up, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
They jumped up to like 45, 48, which is
more
than double of what they were.
Percentages wise, I think it's still a little bit early for some of that stuff. But so next big change they did to this is every army-wide, was modifying the way you make stratagems cost.
Oh, yes,
this was actually big, and this hurt some models that almost shelved some of them. So if you have a rule that modifies the CP cost of a stratagem, when you're targeted, a particular unit can only do so if it's multiple unit. Let me just read the thing to get it right. Rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem when you target a particular unit can only do so for a stratagem that targets multiple units if every unit that you target has the same ability to modify the CP of that stratagem. The second part says rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem but do not specify the name can only affect ones that are battle tactics. It doesn't apply if it's an Aircast Colossus, Striding Colossus, or Towering Wraith construct. So essentially, the super heavies that had these rules. So what this rule is really saying is, if your stratagem calls out a very particular thing. So, I can reduce, and their example is very nice. You can reduce to 0 a very specific stratagem. Cool. If it doesn't call out the specific stratagem, then you can only do it to the battle tactic stratagems. Like I said, their example says that a captain writes a battle ability enables a model that's targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP. It does not specify a name, so only battle tactic ones are allowed. Whereas other spots where it says you may do the Fire Overwatch stratagem for 0, it calls out Fire Overwatch, so you do get it for 0. What this changes is a lot of captain models, or I know in Necrons it's overlord models, or those style of models had make a stratagem a 0 CP, and you may duplicate something you've already used. If it doesn't call out the name, it can now only be your what do they call it? My apologies.
Battle tactic. You're right.
Battle tactic. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, battle tactic. Which in general, the ones that are battle tactics, where do I have the thing? Do you have it in front of you? Which ones are the battle tactic ones?
What do you mean, like which ones?
Which base stratagems are actual battle tactics?
Oh, like the base from the rule book?
Yes, because that's what it
I was
applies
thinking
to.
okay, got it. Well, it also applies to the stratagems that you use in the army.
But most of those are not battle tactic. There are some, but it doesn't even, like, you'll notice Fire Overwatch is a strategic ploy.
Strategic ploy.
So it no longer applies. You can't use it on Fire Overwatch unless your rule specifically says Fire Overwatch.
I'm trying to see
stratagems.
the core rules.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Command reroll.
I'm still scrolling down.
Yep. Which one? Command reroll is
stratagems. There we are. Is a battle tactic.
Yep. No, so far that's the one. Go to ground.
Yep. And that's it.
That's it from the base.
Yep.
And like I said, if you look in your own faction, yes, there are some, but there's not many. I'll put it this way. Your good stratagems that you'd want to use this on are not battle tactics.
No, they're not.
Almost extensively are they always never actually battle tactics. So it does make it now where if you had something that made it free before, it is very few options. Like looking at the Necron ones, Protocol Hungry Void is a battle tactic, I believe. Oh, and Conquering Tyrant. So 2 of their 6 fit that. That was not the ones we used the freebie on before. Space Marines are going to have the very similar things. What you want to use the freebies on, you're not allowed to anymore. Specifically in Space Marines, which ones actually are? Let me get into that, because this, I think, is one of the biggest ones. So Honor the Chapter is... So you can use Honor the Chapter. You could use Armor Contempt. That's actually a battle tactic. Storm of Fire. So actually, they get quite a few. They get those ones. So they actually have maybe some of their better ones. They have some options. But that's actually a really, really big change.
Agree.
And it's a fair change, I think, overall. It's probably fine, but it feels like they gave you models very shortly ago that had a very cool facet, and then they realized it's a problem, so they removed that facet from you.
Yeah. Bait and switch, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that we should call out, because here's another very important thing they say after this. Unless your rule... So, you can only affect the cost if it either calls out the name or is a battle tactic. Being able to use a stratagem more than once in a phase or /turn, depending on the wording, also fits the same rule. So you can only use it more than once if what your ability says specifically calls it out. Some of them do. Or if it's a battle tactic. So pretty good still for Space Marines, but a lot of other armies kind of took a big hit on this one.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the change to Overwatch?
Absolutely. So change to Overwatch is actually very simple. I'm not going to go over the whole thing. So Overwatch is when you could shoot someone either in the movement phase or if they're charging you. But the big change was that the enemy unit has to, well, first of all, the enemy unit has to be visible to your unit. That was a massive thing. This mostly was in the charge phase, because movement phase, you could just do it when they move. So this basically fixes the fact that people could charge you behind a wall and you could not overwatch them because...
No, you could overwatch them.
Oh, you're sorry, you could overwatch them.
Yeah, you could indirect fire.
Yeah, essentially. Now it's, I'm charging you behind a wall. You cannot overwatch me because you cannot see me.
Yes.
And now you can no longer do it with a Titanic unit, which, okay, let me pause.
I'm happy with that in general.
Why Titanic, though? I feel like that might be a little too much for that. So what Titanic unit?
Knights.
You hit on 6s, but you hit on 6s. Who gives a shit?
The
Archaeon?
one Chaos Knight gets 30 shots.
Yeah, but he still hits on 6s.
So? You I understand why they do it because you can get
Yeah.
quite a bit, or Titanic flame weapons and stuff like that, auto hitting
That's
style
the only one
weapons.
I was thinking Titanic flame weapons, but the only two I can think of are the flame cannon on the guy with like the double shoulder cannons.
Yes,
For Domitus? No,
I don't remember the names of all
Ominous.
of them.
Point is, it's the one with like he's got a flavor cannon. So
Yeah,
okay, that one's pretty dangerous, and I've seen that one pretty due to, or the Archaon. That's the only auto hits I could think of.
yeah, I've seen it on some other ones, not necessarily the auto hitting ones, but when you just have so many dice, yeah, it might be on sixes, but you can still get a good amount of results out there.
Okay.
Because that might be a spot where you're doing it in the movement phase and then also in a charge phase, so you're
No, you
getting the
can't do
doubles.
both. You can't
Well,
remember. You can't. You Overwatch was always only ever once per turn, unless they change. Oh yes, you could only use the stratagem once per turn. So that didn't change.
yeah, okay, yeah. Unless maybe someone had a freebie, maybe not. But okay, so then just the ones. Oh yeah, we have some things that have freebies. My apologies. But I think that's a worthwhile change. Obviously, they thought it was a problem. I don't think it's too much of a fix there. Insane bravery changed. You now have to use it before you roll. By wording before you could roll, and then I
See
failed.
if you
Boom,
failed.
do
Yeah.
it anyway. No, it's before.
I don't know. I'm split on this.
For one CP, that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm not. This one doesn't bother me as much, but I could see why people might be like a little pissy about it. Honestly, maybe.
Well, because you could always just roll and hope. Because I need this unit to count for objectives. Oh, I do
Yeah.
it. Oh, they failed. Nah, they'll just count anyway.
I will say it does help you use more CP. Now that you can't like wait to see the result, now it's like use it or cry if you fail. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Although I run out of CP as it is, so using CP is not a problem. I use the CP.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
the insane bravery actually before specifically said when you're done rolling. Now it's like no, it must be before. So I think
Must
that's a
be
fine
before.
change.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I could see why
Yeah.
people would have a problem with it, but I don't honestly.
Yep. Last overall rule change is to ruins. Did you want to discuss it briefly? What the changes?
Oh, that's right, because you didn't say bravery. It was so short.
Yes.
I was like, I just did fire Overwatch. Jesus.
Yeah, no. Insane
So no,
bravery was
yeah,
just essentially
super
a
cheap.
lot
Oh
of
my
red,
God.
but it really
Literally,
boils down
yeah, I
to
was
one
gonna
simple
say,
idea.
like I just did fire Overwatch. Oh, no, ruins. If I'm not mistaken, it just did. It changed towering aircraft. Let me just really quick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
change
it
line of
was
sight for
literally.
those.
Yep. So aircraft models can still draw line of sight through ruins because
Yeah, you're super tall.
flying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Towering no longer can do it.
Yes.
Which, yes, yes, I agree. Although it makes me wonder if maybe then the towering tax might have been too much. You know what I mean? Because they already
it was.
they were taxed already for the towering, right?
Yeah.
They went up by a lot of points, like 50 to 60 points a pop. But now what they used to do can no longer works. Should they go back down or do they stay there?
We'll see. Oh, and it is
We'll
just
see.
related to ruins, but let's face it, the most
Yeah.
common terrain feature in a 40k table is probably ruins. In the average 40k tables, at least. So, all right. That then takes us to faction changes. There's not a lot. Let's be honest. There actually isn't, which is very nice.
No.
The first one is Custodes. So, do you want to talk about theirs?
Yeah. All right, let's do
It's
this.
not. None of these things are bad. These are all
first
good.
one
worthwhile
should have
changes.
happened. The first one should have been done. The other ones I disagree.
No, I agree with
hold
them fully.
It's again one of those disagree agrees. But let's talk about the first one first, because this one I do agree with 100%, and that's Unwavering Sentinels. For those who don't know, Unwavering Sentinels was your ability to fight first on an objective for 2 CP. Now it has changed to an epic deed stratagem. This basically means you can no longer make it free. That's basically the gist of it, which is fine. 2 CP for still fighting first on an objective first, still great. And plus Trajan still does it for free. Although the irony is Trajan was not auto take before because he was like, oh, he's fight first. Who gives a shit? Like whatever. And he's not much stronger than my shield cap. Let's say now it's like, oh crap, Trajan provides the free fight first. I need to take him. So I find that funny that Trajan went from, hey, let's diversify to, oh God, I need Trajan again. So that's just funny. But yeah, that's 100% agree with that change. Fight first 3 times in a game in a single turn was way too much. You could do it with Trajan,
Yeah.
Shield Captain, and then 2 CP, which was
Yep.
it's just stupid. As no. Okay. The next changes.
These are good changes.
Yes. Okay.
You don't like them because you play the army. And
No,
you feel
it's
it
not that.
weakens
It's no. I'll tell you why I don't like it. Actually, I'll see if you can guess why I don't like it, or why I do like the change. There's a reason why I do like the change.
because it
And then
works better for the amount of models in the box or something weird.
No, has nothing to do with
Okay.
that.
I figured
So-
that's what it was.
Basically, the guard composition changed on the units. Now, basically, maximum you could have 4 to 5 custodian guard. So it's no longer 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it was what it used to be. It doesn't matter. Now it's you get 4 or 5. Wardens are now 4 or 5. Virtus Praetors are 2 or 3. Okay. Why I like this change. One, the Warden should have changed in the first place. Wardens were 3 to 6. That made no goddamn sense. The box was 5 models. Stop that. That was the stupid. That was dumb. That should have. That was had to be a misprint in my opinion. Right? That was the most annoying misprint because everyone had 5 models, but you're paying for 6. Which the point is dumb. Never do that again. Okay. Fluff reason why I like this is why custodians should not be in blocks of 10. These are literally the best of the goddamn Imperium. Like these you need maybe 1 to capture a planet kind of nonsense. These are nuts, guys. A squad of 5 will absolutely fluff wise destroy anything they come in contact with. But this coupled then with the Epic Deed change, or the Unwavering Sentinels change, which again should have happened, right? Then coupled with the make it stratagem free thing, right? Then coupled with the mortal wound change, then coupled with the fact that they all got around 20 to 25% more points was a little too much, right? Something in there was now, mind you, again, overcorrection sometimes is better because then you could peel it back slightly, which I don't mind. I don't mind that. But gut feeling was that was a little too much overcorrection. But I don't know what I would change to then recorrect it back because I kind of like all these changes. That's the weird part about it, Dave. Like, it sounds weird to say that because I'm like, hey, I got nerfs. Yes, I like these changes.
Yes.
The lower unit sizes make me more fluffy. There shouldn't have been a 10-man unit of custodian guard. That's no, not even in any of the heresy books where they're 10-unit man guards, right? The changes to devastating wounds absolutely should have happened. I 100% agree. Fights first should not be free. 100% agree. Custodians should be more points. I agree. But there's something in there that just was too much, in my opinion. It's hard to explain because I don't mind the nerfs. It was just too many.
I think it's a wait and see on a lot of that. I think it's going to work out fine. I don't think
it might just be a wait and see. And you're right. It might just be a wait and see. It might just be. But the other problem I have is it kind of sucks for people. So Virtus Praetors, yes, they come in boxes of 3. I understand. They should have still been 3 to 6. Because some people had, 12 bikes, 15 bikes. It kind of sucks now that you're limited to 9.
They did that with the orc buggies and all.
Yep. Oh, I know, but it was just, it's kind of like
if you want, for playing this game, if you want to be able to always say the models you have will always work in the amounts you have, don't buy tons of any particular model.
Yeah.
If it's not a battle line unit,
don't do me.
Don't buy a bunch.
Don't buy collections.
Yeah, there was no chance they were ever going to keep all the Virtus Praetors forever. That just wasn't going to happen. Because sooner or later they'll change it, they'll correct it, they'll do something. Yeah. So overall, though, I think those are good changes. Like I said, I think a lot of those changes are not so much designed for where the army was, but where the army will be. And knowing that if everyone else gets knocked down a peg, these guys were going to be the new ones on top unless they made some changes.
No, I agree. And that's why I said it's not that I mind the changes. Like I know I was making fun of the custodians before, like with a meme, because there's a lot of people crying online and whining about it.
People never like. A lot of players don't like when they get a nerf because they don't look at the big picture of seeing why it's necessary.
I don't mind the nerf because I like to look at the big picture, and I understood how powerful we were. But there's like a gut feeling in me that it's like this is a little it was just a little much all at the same time. Maybe that's what it was. It was just a little much, maybe all like one go. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe like too much all at one time. So it's like you get overloaded with the amount of nerfs. Maybe that's what it is. You have the points increase, but then you also have the fact that it's not free, but then you also have the fact that your army ability is essentially useless against the majority of damage dealing, which is how we kind of lived. Maybe it was just a lot at one time, and that's why I'm kind of feeling it. But other than that, these should have happened anyway. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yep. Next one, Mechanicus. Theirs are actually very simple. The Skitarii Rangers and Skitarii Vanguard, they went from 5-up, 6-up invols to 4-up saves and 5-up invul saves. So they just both got a better tick. Getting a 5-up invul save means you now essentially will always have a 5-up save. Before it was a 6-up, you weren't really going to get that.
I'm surprised they had a 6-up save because even in
for invul, yeah, it was a 6-up invul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm very surprised because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they always used to be 5-up. Maybe I'm just crazy.
They had a 5-up save and then a 6-up invul in this edition. Yeah. Now their saves are essentially both one better. But base, and we'll talk about some points changes as well. But base model rules wise, those are the changes. Eldari.
So Eldari are kind of weird.
Took you a moment.
And by Eldari weird, I mean finally Phantasm Stratagem got changed to one Eldari infantry unit from your army.
What was it before? Just Eldari unit?
It was Eldari unit, Wraith Knights. Yep. Wraith Knights.
What does this stratagem do?
If I'm not mistaken, because I haven't actually played Eldari this edition, but I'm like 99% certain because it's got used on me. Phantasm is you get to move away essentially. It's I don't know if you remember the old Fade and Fire, but I think it was
remember Fade and Fire.
But I think it's actually before you even got you fired. I think it was literally you can move when someone moved close to you.
Normal move up to 7 inches.
Yep, and it's when someone moved next to you, which was even more annoying.
Yeah,
because you could set up a charge and you could just be like, nope, and you bamoosh.
Yeah,
and it was really annoying because Wraith Knights can do this. Tanks can do this, which was really fucking dumb.
Everything but words, aircraft originally. Now it's got to be infantry.
Dumb. So dumb. It was having a tank do this to you was just the epitome of stupid. Because it was like, oh my God, I hated it. Especially against web spinner tanks, which already reduced your movement by 2 inches, right? And then, oh my God, this angered me. So good change. Not even mad. Good change.
All right. Next change is for Agents of the Imperium, in case you happen to run any of those. The Extraction Squads. Extraction Squads used to be 4 to 9 vigilance. So essentially you could run a 5-man squad or a 10-man squad plus Cybermassive if you want. No, they're just 10-man. They also now let you take extra special weapons.
They were 35 point button pushers. That's what they were.
Yes.
They were 35 point. I needed button push for cheap. Now you can't. And they were actually really good too. I believe that a 4-up invul for 35 points. They were nuts.
Yeah.
The
but now you just got full 10-man squads.
Insane.
All right. Death Guard actually have a whole brand new detachment.
Here, talk about this one. This one's long, and I know Manny was explaining it to me. My brain went like kapoosh because Death Guard. I know they changed their detachment. Talk about this one.
Well, yeah. This one. This is, like I said, overall, if you look at it, this is that change that they had. So
yeah,
we'll talk about what they have now, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it was before.
I think Manny was
what they have. This is an addition, I should say.
It's an addition.
Yeah, they don't lose the other thing. So, let's go through the new one first. So it says, during the declare battle formation step, select one of the sicknesses below. So you get one of these bonuses. Till the end of the battle, all of your army's units that have Nurgle's gift ability gain this sickness. So you get to choose an army-wide ability at the beginning of the game. You can do a Skull Swarm Blight. It's an aura. When an enemy unit is within contagion range of this unit, worsen the ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristics by 1.
So that's really amazing.
Yep.
Because here's the fun part.
Yep.
That can stack.
Yes.
When you -1 hit from someone, and this says you -1 weapon skill or ballistic skill from someone, that does stack. So now Custodians, for example, now hit on 4s if you want them to, not 3s, because you can stack the minus weapon skill or ballistic skill and a -1 to hit. That's really nice.
Yeah. The other next one is the Battle Joint AUG. While an enemy unit is within contagion range of this unit, worsen the save characteristics by 1. You also have Scarberous Soul Rot is your other option. If they're within contagion range of this unit, worsen the leadership and objective characteristics by 1 to a minimum of 1. And then you change the parentheses at the end of the current rule to so enemy units within contingent range of it will have their characteristics modified. So they're just making sure it's clear that you're actually changing the characteristic, because also that means certain things where it talks about changing characteristics that helps clarify that.
They did not clarify Trajan, by the way. I will put that out. I was hoping they would stupidly clarify Trajan, and it's still a big debate, even though it shouldn't be, in my opinion. It's still a huge debate.
Yeah. Their other base rule, essentially their detachment rule gives you sticky objectives and gives you a little bit more, as essentially if enemies within contagion range will have their toughnesses modified. So you modify their toughness.
Again, very good.
You now do even more. Contagion range is what, 7 inches?
You know what's funny? I haven't played against Death Guard yet. I'd love to tell you, but let me check that. Open up the app. I'm assuming it'd be.
Sorry. Sorry. It's by round. It's first round is 3 inches, then 6, then 9. My apologies. That's actually what it is.
Wait, that's only 3 rounds.
After just 3 rounds, and after is always 9.
Oh, got it. Okay. I was like, does it stop at 9 or does it get bigger? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, you naturally get -1 to your toughness when you're contagion range. Now you'll worsen another characteristic some other way. You'll worsen their ballistic skill, weapon skill, essentially their to hits. You'll worsen their saves, or you'll worsen their ability to grab objectives. You are choosing one for the entire army, but you get to know what they have first, because this is in declare battle formations.
Exactly.
So you have an idea of what am I facing, what matters the most. Death Guard needed help. Death Guard were really, really bad in general. They had some good stuff.
There were a couple really bad. There were a couple really bad. But yeah, no, Death Guard was one of them. Sadly.
Death Watch change, real simple. Their stratagems say bolt weapons now.
Yep. It's not, thank God.
And they list what the bolt weapons are, which is like most things. But they list it, it's just bolt weapons.
Oh my God. Thank God.
All right.
That also helps the. So that was a big thing that worried me when they changed devastating wounds, because that's how Death Watch does its damage. It does damage through devastating wounds. And this was the one, if you remember, this was the one that got nerfed before they released the rules.
Yes.
Because it was Death Watch could do something like 60 mortal wounds, odd something on just a normal roll.
Yes.
And it was something just absolutely disgusting like that. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty bullshit. And then when they, of course, removed this from devastating wounds, I was like, oh, that's not good. But since they changed this, it's like, oh, okay, that actually does help ever so slightly.
Yeah.
What's
the next? Colts.
Oh, thank God, this one. So, okay, slight side note on this one. I'm all for, having an army have recursion. That's the word, recursion.
Yes, recursion.
In the army. I don't mind that. I really don't. I used to play Beast of Chaos. It was a really cool ability. Khorne does that. Like Demons of Khorne do that, right? When they kill something. It's a really neat ability. But there should be limitations.
Yes.
The Genes to the Colts had no limitations. So it was very annoying to pop a very expensive squad to have them come up next turn. Anyway, so first of all, they changed Cult Ambush. If your army faction is Genes to the Cult, each time a unit with this ability is destroyed, roll a d6, add 1 to the result of its battle line, and adding 1 to the result if it is the first or second battle round. On a 5-up, add a new unit to the army identical to the destroyed unit. And the rest is the same. So now, you add 1 to the result if it's the first or second battle round, and it's on a 5-up.
Yep, where it used to be automatic,
which was I just killed a 300-point squad of very heavy melee brutes. They're back. Congratulations. This was a much needed change. This Genes to the Cult and Eldari, I think we're rocking around a high 60, low 70% win rate. And Genes to the Cult's the only real reason why was literally because of the recursion. It was automatic. No, I'm sorry, guys. That should have happened. I don't see.
Oh, my apologies. It wasn't necessarily 100% automatic. And before, it was you added 3. It was a 4-up, but you added 3 if you were battle line.
Oh, So it was
So
automatic if you
they
were battle line.
worsened it a little bit.
Which is funny
Part of it.
because the battle line is what did the damage, Dave. Because if you look
Yes.
at
Battle line was essentially automatic. Because if you're adding
Because-
3 to a 4-up, your battle line,
Yep.
you were getting it no matter what.
because they had a unit. Just gotta pull them up real quick. It was a battle line unit. They're very cheap. Thankfully, this is in alphabetical
That's really
order.
where this was. It wasn't the giant crazy units. It was all
No,
your
it
battle
was-
line. You just kept
yeah.
bringing those same people back. You can just keep grabbing all your
I
objectives.
want to say it was the hybrids. Oh, man, now I wish I could remember. They had some weird mortal wound grenade that you could just keep killing them and bringing them back, and they could keep doing the mortal wound grenade. And it was really demolition charge. There it is. D6 plus 3 hits on a 5-up. 12 damage, -2 AP, 2 damage, assault blast, hazardous 1 shot, and you would just keep demolition, and then you would do that with the stratagem to throw grenades. And you would do that multiple times in the same unit. Oh, they came back, demolition charge. Oh, they came back, demolition charge. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was no. Yeah. Yeah. And then they changed the Jackal data sheet.
Yeah. It used to be 6 inches. Now it's 9 inches.
That's 9, which I don't.
It's for where they set up. So they changed the range.
Oh, poor Grey Knights. Grey Knights. I'll do this one.
Yeah.
So I thought Grey Knights were going to get, well, I think they got points reductions. I haven't seen the points for them. They did? Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
So, okay, they got points reductions. I thought they would change a little bit on the stratagem side to be a little bit easier to play.
Well, our discussions through it kind of seemed like the points were some of their issues. So if they did good points changes, it could be worth it.
True. But it's just basically Halo and Soulfire now is changed to strategic ploy. So very much like everyone else, it is no longer gratis. It's no longer free. So there it is.
For Imperial Knights, we mentioned it before. Bondsman abilities now are only on armigers. Your big boys can't get all the bondsman abilities, which is a good change. I mean, part of that idea is that they're helping the little ones. That's actually what it's supposed to be. So now you can actually make sure you help the little ones. Other changes they have, Thunder Stomp used to be a battle tactic, which means you could repeat it and all those with the rules. Now it's an epic deed instead, so you can't get the repeats. Trophy Claim was 2 CP. It used to be 1 CP. This one is... You can add 1 to wound rolls and stuff like that. If your model destroys the enemy unit, you gain a CP. If it doesn't, some bad stuff happens. So they upped its cost. And the Valiant Stand, we used to be 1 CP, now it's 2 CP. So essentially, they made a few of their stratagems more expensive. All right. Votan. Tell us about the Votan changes.
Votan. I know they got points. I heard already that they're already starting to jump up in the win percentages, which is
there'll be points changes as well.
Thank God. So first of all, ruthless efficiency detachment rule. You select a number of units from your opponent's army depending on the battle size is shown below. So mostly you pay strike force, so it's 4 units, but just in case incursion is 2, onslaught is 6. Now you automatically get judgment tokens on that many units. So for example, if you're playing strike force, which is 2,000 points, you can select up to 4 units from your enemy, and they start the battle with 2 judgment tokens already on them. Great. That helps already. Period. Done over it. Because the big problem with them was they don't start with judgment tokens.
No.
And they already hit on 4s. And it was kind of like, well, shit, they used to hit on 3s, and they used to pass out judgment tokens very easily, and they got rid of that. So this helps immensely. And
it used to be 1 unit. They could get it on 1 unit.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So yeah, this helps hilariously. And at the start of your command phase, if any of those units have been destroyed, you gain the number of CP depending on how early the battle is you destroyed it. And CP gain in this way is exempt from the CP core rules. Does it tell you how many CP you
It's in the base rule.
It's in the base rule. Okay.
So what it was before is they would get 1 unit that would have the 2 judgment tokens on them. And if you destroy that unit, depending on the turn you destroy them, like if you got them the first turn or second turn within your command phase, you get 3 CP, then 2, then 1, if it's like later and later. Now there's 4 units in the standard game that you'll have with all these judgment tokens. And they needed this. Absolutely. They needed this.
I'm not even arguing this one. Not even arguing this one.
Nope.
Anyone argues this is mean.
No one argued it because they were bad.
Yes, they were.
This gives them their whole army rule is about these tokens. Because remember, in the previous edition, getting tokens was actually really easy. When your enemy did something that helped them win the game, you got judgment tokens. So when they did things like take objectives, when they score points, when they do anything good for them, you got tokens. Now it was when they destroy you. So now you actually get to start with a bunch of tokens, which is good. Very last main document change is Space Marine Desolation Squads are now max 5 models instead of up to 9.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
No one's complaining about that.
Fuck them. Fuck them. I hated that shit.
Yeah.
I hated that shit. 10
no
Desolation
one's complaining
Marines
about that change. That's a
on
good change.
goddamn building, already getting -1 AP with a shit ton of shots, ignoring line. Fuck that shit. That was literal cancer. I hated that shit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that one was bad.
Very,
so they did change that.
That was very emotional there.
Yes.
But being on the receiving end of 10 Desolation Marines with Oath of the Moment on top of a goddamn building, fuck that shit. That was literal toxicity. And I hated every moment of it.
All right. So we do have the old document compared to the current one to be able to discuss some points changes. We're not going to go through everything. If you are super interested in a very particular army, I guarantee that you can find those armies. I think what we should probably take a look at, just to do a brief discussion on this, is to look at maybe the armies that they also did some rules changes for, or the ones we knew were the top and the bottom. So, like, it makes sense to look at, say, Aldari, because we know they were the absolute top.
Custodians.
So to take a look at, say, them. You just want to look at Custodes because you know Custodes. That's not a good reason.
They did get points reductions on certain units, which I got interested. That's why
I mean, that's all good for them. But, so if we look at, say, Aldari. So hopefully Dennis is in front of him as well. If we look compared to the old one, so this is the old one. And for anyone watching, we have this displayed up. If not, we'll obviously talk about it. But you'll notice there's a lot of red when you switch over. They changed a lot of points. Did anything actually go down?
I don't think so.
Like Osterman went up
I
by
remember
what,
looking at this
15?
before.
Did anything actually get cheaper? I don't believe so. They don't do nice color coding of different colors.
No, I wish they did green and red. Oh, God,
yeah.
But yeah, Warp Spiders went up.
Yeah, Warp Spiders went up a little bit. They didn't go
War
up
Walkers
too much.
went up. Oh, no, War Walkers, I think. Oh, wait. War Walkers did go up. Vipers. Did Vipers go up? What is that?
Wraith Knights are 510 now compared to 475.
Yeah. Oh, no. Everything got hit.
Yeah, everything in red for them is the Yakarn went to 350, where the Yakarn before
that was another dumb god. Have you seen
270? Oh yeah, no, I know. Yeah, 80-point increase. Needed
Good.
it. Absolutely needed it. Quite a bit.
Death Jester, not sure why it went up 20 points, but sure, whatever.
Death Jester is good at sniping out characters.
Oh, this is dumb. I do see one that went down. Why did that one go down?
What?
Wait, now I'm actually angry. The Night Spinner.
No, Night Spinner went up to 180. It was 170.
Oh, I'm looking. Sorry, I reversed it. Okay.
Yeah, Night Spinner. Night Spinner went up in the previous thing, and then it went up again a little bit.
Good. Night Spinners are so dumb. So goddamn dumb.
Yeah.
Indirect fire.
So Aldari got hit in multiple ways. All of these things are actually very good. So the mortal wounds changes are huge for them because they're no longer just wiping squads with individual things. Them only being able to run away or do extra movement on infantry units is really big. And their armies in general are going to be smaller than they used to be. Overall, I think for the moment, it feels like it's enough changes. I'm curious to see if it will be enough, but I do think that with selected points changes, especially in the units that were kind of like the audio includes, I think it's going to make enough of a change.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think Aldari got bad in any way. I think Aldari is still going to be a great army. I think they're going to be closer to the 50% win rate, though, instead of into the 60s, though.
I agree. I think it'll be 50.
Yeah. I think that's what we're going to probably end up seeing. You're probably going to explode if we don't talk Custodes at least for a moment.
No, it's actually very simple. Custodes went up, period. They changed their squad sizes. Yeah, they changed their squad sizes, period. The big point downs, which I agree with 100%, were that, well, first of all, let's talk about points ups. Alaris went up to 70 points a model. I believe.
Yeah, 70 a model.
70 a model versus 65 it was before. So that's
they're minor.
Good. That 70 is fine. 70 is actually fine. Trajan went up to 160, which obviously he should have.
Yes.
Land Raider I think went down to two. Yes, it went down to 240. Which actually makes a very interesting choice in my opinion, because people were comparing the Coronis not the Coronis, the Caladius, the anti-tank Caladius with the Land Raider, because Caladius was so goddamn cheap. Caladius used to be what? Where is it? 215. It's still 215, right? Now the Land Raider being able to transport someone and for 35 points more also have las cannons. Now we're talking. So we might actually for the first time ever in like ever see Land Raiders on Custodians armies, which I'm okay with.
Sagittarium went down 5 points a guy.
Thank God, Sagittarium. They're still useless as hell. But hey, if people like Sagittarium, I ain't gonna, we ain't gonna judge them. But they're still useless, Dave. They're still fucking useless. Virtus Praetors, I think, went down. 2 models are now one. Yes, Virtus Praetors. Remember, these are the bikes that you said, why the hell do they have their special ability when they advance? So now they're down to 160. I'm gonna be honest, I still think they're goddamn useless. At 80 points a model. Again, I spent 80 points a model on bikes or 70 points a model on Alaris Custodians that just do more damage, can reroll wounds on characters, and also are cheaper.
Yeah.
I hate to be that person, but it's like they should be 70 points a model. Vigilators went down. Nice. I might actually take Vigilators are the sword girls.
Yep.
I didn't take them because prosecutors were so goddamn cheap. I think prosecutors, let me see here. Let me find prosecutors. 4 models, 40. So they're still 40. But now prosecutors being 50 I always had like 10 points left over. I might throw in some sword sisters, honestly, to defend the back objective. Because bolter sisters were great. But if you deep strike next to them, you kill them. Yeah. Now you deep strike next to some sword sisters, strength 6 AP 2 damage. That's a spicy meatball there. Yeah. You might not want to charge that, or strength 5, strength 5 AP 2 damage. Custodian Guard went up as they should. All right. I don't think anything went. And then the big one, Forge World units, they went down.
Which is fine. It's Forge World.
Which is fine. It's also the bikes went down as they should. Ironically, there's still 3 6 models, which is weird because they sell them individually, but whatever. Aquilon Terminators went down to the same price as Alaris. I still think, and this is so sad to say this, I still think they're pretty useless compared to Alaris. I would still rather take 3 Alaris than 3 Aquilon. But other than that,
all right.
Venatari went down
some
too.
Ideas.
Venatari went down too. Yeah. Thank God for that.
We were in the middle of talking Grey Knights, so I want to take a look at Grey Knights. I think that's interesting.
Thankfully, this is alphabetical, so I just got to find G.
Page 21.
There it is. Nope, that's a pyramid.
So let's take a look. There's a good bit of red, and let's face it, they needed the red.
Yeah, they did.
Assuming it's decreases. Let's see. Brother Captains went down by 5. Stern went down by 20. He went from 110 to 90. Ooh. That's actually really good.
I think we like Stern.
Yes, we like Stern.
We like
Stern a lot. Brother Champions are now 80. They used to be 85, so small difference there. Their Terminator squads. Base is 210 down instead of 225, so down 15 for 5. Not too bad. Purgations are 135 for 5. They used to be 190. So Purgation squads went down like 55 points.
The fact that they were 190 is so depressing.
Yeah, they're essentially 27 points a model now, where they used to be 32 points a model. So that's a good amount. That's a good amount of difference there. Purifiers are 130 for 5 now instead of 150, so went just about 4 or so points a model. Servitors stayed the same. That's fine. Servitors were amazing. Loved them. Strike squads are 5, essentially 25 points a guy now instead of a little bit more. They used to be 135 for 5 instead of 125 for 5. They didn't get giant changes in points in most spots. The Paladins are 225 now. They used to be 255, so 30. So actually, when you put it all together, for their typical list, especially if you took purgation squads, you've gained units.
I agree.
Remember, this edition is a little weird because you can't like add 2 dudes. You're adding full units or full like halves of units, which means a point change of like, oh, my list gained 50 points is nothing because you can't do anything with it. Nope. But if you took a purgation squad or 2, you now actually might have a points to throw in an extra purgation squad. Or if you took some paladins or some brother terminators, you now actually have enough points to put in a few other squads. That's really what you need. Voldis is 95. He used to be 115, so he's like
we liked Voldis as well. Yep.
Their Land Raiders went down 30 points. That is a unit they want to take. Interceptors, I think we talked about being 135. Used to be 160. So they gained quite a bit in terms of points. They're going to legitimately have another full unit on the board.
I dare say even probably 2 units.
Depending on what the list is, it's definitely possible. Absolutely. But they're at least getting one more thing or increasing unit and getting another unit. So they can actually get some really good use. Drago, what happened to him? He went down like 30 points. So yeah, they're a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Dread Knights dropped 30 points as well. I'm curious. I don't have a list of theirs in mind, but yeah, I think you're probably right. It's probably about 2 units that you're gaining. Because seeing a couple Dread Knights was very common. Seeing some like Drago was common. If you took that, that's 90 points alone and stuff you've saved. If you took a Purgation squad and you now have enough points to get a whole nother squad, and then you'd still have other units. So they got some big changes. Votan, I think.
Votan, I was going to say Votan is right now. They're very close.
2 pages later.
Yep. I think they're page 23. Yep. Oh my God, look how small it is.
And we haven't done a full Votan talk, so maybe the Votan talk will be much happier now. So their Iron Masters went down by 10 points. Thunderkin went down 20 points for 3. They used to be 95 for 3. They're now 75 for 3. The Chthonian Berserkers are 20 points a model, where they used to be a little bit more. They used to be 135 for 5. So actually, it used to be 27. They're now 20 points a model. So they went 7 points down less per model. That's really big.
Jesus.
Champion 60 as opposed to 75. So gained 15 points on that. The Hearthguard were 30 points a model. Sorry, are now 30 points a model. They used to be 33. So a little bit of a gain. Not huge, but that's pretty good. The Grimnir are 65 points for 3 instead of 75, so gaining 10 points there, not too big. Hearthkin Warriors are 110 for 10, so 11 points a guy. They used to be about 13.5. Your Hecaton Land Fortress, 225 as opposed to 245, so a little bit cheaper. I remember that thing was the scourge of society.
I hated that thing. I remember that thing killed, I want to say about 12 custodians with one shot because of the beam.
Yep.
It was so dumb.
Pioneers are 5 points less a model. The Call went down 20 points. The Sagittar used to be 100. Now used to be 120. Now it's 100. So lost 20 points to Sagittar. Their named character went down by 25 points. So they also went down a good amount in points. I don't know if it's enough.
So I talked to someone who plays Votan.
Yes.
And he gained roughly, and it's just a normal list, not even a competitive list, just a normal list, around 300 to 400 points.
Okay, maybe it is enough. That's true.
Yeah.
Like
he literally gained, he basically said, I am now a Horde army.
Yes. That is, some people have said that about several of these factions. Tau, same sort of thing. Like, I feel like a Horde army now because they've cheapened me up, maybe to like a too much extent. In general, if you notice the data slate, they didn't really change many rules. They just changed people's points, which is a way to fix something, but not always a great way to do it. No, that makes sense because Votan, not all their stuff got tons cheaper, but they don't have a lot of variety.
Exactly.
So like your characters
not
losing
like you're
20 points each is big.
Yeah. It basically is like, I would take, like Thunderkin and shit like that. But you would take like a couple, like 3 or 4 squads of those. But then all of a sudden, each of those squads gaining, I think it was 20 points cheaper?
20 points for a 3-man.
So you're gaining 60 points, which is another HQ.
Yeah, that's
So,
almost another unit of Thunderkin because they're 75.
Yeah.
So you take them and an HQ, you now have an extra whole unit. So yeah, no, it makes sense. I could see how you get into the 200 to 300 or more points on a standard list here. But I don't think it's always the most interesting way, just being able to take a lot more of things.
agree.
For them, it's not bad because their stuff is reasonably good in certain ways. They do have some problems still. But their stuff wasn't bad looking. It just was super, super expensive. You couldn't get enough of it. And you couldn't get your special rules. Now you actually have tokens. And your stuff is cheap enough to be able to get enough. And let's face it. If your army rule is you need to be destroyed to get your good bonuses, you need enough units to be able to be destroyed.
Exactly.
When you had a lot less units, losing a unit of 3 Thunderkin hurts because you didn't have many of them. Now you at least have an extra unit or 2 of those guys. Now you could afford to lose them. All right. Those are the main ones I wanted to look at. There's a lot of changes, and you can look this up.
Yeah.
We don't have all those in front of us, but those are the sorts of ones I wanted to look because I wanted to
What
look
happened to
at
your
the top
Necrons?
and
What
the
happened?
bottom.
Come on.
In general, their points went up, and that makes sense. Certain things went down, but most stuff went up a little bit. Like Warriors went down, that's fine. But I know, who am I thinking right now? Let me take a look at it because now I can't think of names right now, which is irritating.
Did the
me.
Silent King go down? Because that's the big one.
Yeah, he went down because he was too expensive. He wasn't
that
good.
one I'm curious. All right, talk to me.
Yeah,
about Necron.
yeah.
See, now I'm curious about Necron.
Lich Guard went up about 5 points a model. They needed to. Lich Guard were crazy. Again, Necrons didn't get their changes because they were amazing. Because some people were saying like, "Hey, we only had like a 50-some% win rate. Why did they nerf us?" And they flat out said, "You got nerfed because what was going to happen if you stayed the way you were is you were going to be the new boogeyman." And I think that's the same reason that Custodes got hit the way they did. They took the armies that looked like, ooh, this army is going to become way too good when the top kind of goes away.
Yep.
Like Ophidian Destroyers got cheaper by 10 points. They needed to. They weren't great. Our heavy weapons tended to go up. Like Locust Heavy Destroyers are 50 points a base now. They used to be 30. 45. My apologies. They were 45, so they went up by about 5 points. I know our barge. Where am I looking? Doomstalkers went up to 135. Doomstalkers were 125, so up about 10 points. Not too big of a difference. Doomsday Arc is now 210. Doomsday Arc used to be 185, but that is honestly like the best anti-tank in the game. So that makes sense. Flayed ones they didn't touch. They really should have. Flayed ones are kind of garbage, and that's a shame. Hexmark Destroyers obviously went up. And the way they changed certain things, they can't fire Overwatch nearly as much as they used to. Because you used to be able to get that extra. That doesn't quite happen anymore, which is fine. Xeris, I think, actually went down. They made him cheaper, which was funny. Yeah, Xeris actually went down. He went 185. He used to be 220, so he went down by quite a bit.
Xeris is who?
He's overall, he was the one that people ended up taking. He was the Destroyer, the name Destroyer, essentially, by look almost, because he had the sort of triple leg.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, he was the one. He would buff various units, and he could give out some other rules. He was actually really, really good. Scorpec Destroyers went down a little bit. They got a little cheaper, about 10 points less for a pack of 3. Scorpec Lord went down. He went down by 15, so Scorpec now are a little bit more viable. I liked them before, but they're definitely more viable, especially now Lich Guard went up. Lich Guard are still a great piece. You still absolutely want to take them. Triarch Praetorians went down a little bit, probably not enough. They only lost 15 points. They only lost about 3 points a guy. They need a little bit more to make that happen.
Those are the annoying ones with the 4 up and the axe, right?
No, that is that's the Lich Guard. The Praetorians are the flying ones with the staff of the Covenant or whatever. Covenant.
I can't remember if we cared about those or not.
No, they weren't good for their points. They're a dual kit with a Lich Guard. You don't build them. Now, make them a little bit cheaper, maybe, but still. In general, essentially our good options went up. Same thing with Reanimators. Our really good options went up. and our not so good options went down a little bit. It's probably a pretty fair balance. And again, I don't mind any of these changes because it makes us a little bit more in line. And the last thing I would want is that we become the new boogeyman of the game. No one wants there to be any of that.
No one, yeah.
So,
no one wants the boogeyman because GW has not had a good history of nerfing boogeymen.
No,
or
and it's
nerfing boogeymen fairly. Yes.
You know, I don't want my army to now be like where I just roll over most armies because that's not fun either. So that's something to keep in mind when you look at changes. You need to change everything. It's not just change the top and change the bottom, because if all you do is that, you now get new tops and bottoms. You have to change holistically through the whole thing. You have to really take a look at it and figure out what needs to change. Now, that doesn't mean all these changes are great. Overall, I do like them. Overall, I think they did a really, really good job with balance. I think they helped a lot. I have looked through it enough that I don't see the new problem. Maybe there will be. There's always that chance. But I don't see one. There's nothing quite obvious where I'm like, oh, these guys. And from everyone else I've read, no one's sitting down so far from what I've seen and saying, hey, here's the new terror. Most people are very positive on these changes. And overall, I am as well. How about yourself?
No, I'm very positive. Again, the custodians just rub me the wrong way, but just because it rubs me the wrong way doesn't mean it's wrong.
True.
Yeah, it's just it's just too. I felt it was just too, maybe just overwhelming. I don't know. But yeah, no, the devastating wounds needed to change. I love that change. Mm-hmm. I'm actually positive with these changes. I understand why people are salty because no one likes their shit nerfed, but at the same token, a healthy game, needs balance.
And we're in Index 40k. It was always going to change potentially drastically.
Exactly.
Change it now. Please don't change it crazy when stuff comes out later.
Yeah, because then you enter the Votan problem. Nerf for Codex before it even comes out.
Or they did the same thing with the dragons in Age of Sigmar.
They send it with custodians.
Yeah, this has been a problem they've had in the past where they've actually had to change something before it's even out.
Yeah.
The only one I'm not a huge fan of is limiting that to battle tactics of who can repeat unless it clarifies exactly what. Mostly because they specifically made some models in the game whose main idea is, hey, I can make your stuff free. And now they've removed that, so that's kind of rough in many ways. Not tough everywhere, but in many ways it is. So that one I'm not a big fan of. But every other change I really do like. I do think they did a lot of good. I don't like having to pay now for some rules app wise, but
that's a little pissy.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I call it as it is. That's kind of pissy.
Yeah, in a general trend where games tend to be saying, "I'll give you the rules, please buy my models." GW still wants to hold on to, "Please pay me for absolutely everything."
Yes,
and it doesn't give goodwill.
Exactly. Now, will people still buy this? Yes, because it's one of the more popular miniature games out there.
It's the most popular miniature game.
Yeah.
In general.
It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm old enough to be like, hey, I'd rather just play Infinity with the free rules. But maybe that's just me. Maybe,
there's other games, and there's definitely other games that are popular, but this game is the biggest. Absolutely.
I'm saying Infinity because I'm painting it right now. That's why. But it's just, it's like, I look at, like...
But every game has its up and downs, and there's honestly no comparison related to even the background of the two games. Most people I know who play Infinity couldn't tell you any of the story.
That's very true.
Yes, I like the game. I don't know any of the story, and I'm sure it's fine. The role playing stuff they did from it, garbage. None of it worked.
I never played the. Wait, hold on, pause. Explain that a little bit because I never played the role play.
No, I've never played it either, but everyone says no. It's just not good. They essentially tried to put Infinity into a role playing game, and it just doesn't translate well. Yeah, that was more of the problem the way they did that.
I do have high hopes for the space game.
For anyone who doesn't know, the Corvus Belli is making a space game. They are definitely going Infinity style with it. And by that, I mean they are looking at it in terms of quite a bit of managing and quite a bit of density. They're going probably more for simulation, I would say, when you look at the game rather than abstraction. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. I want to see more about it. I did watch a little bit of like some Let's Play stuff, but I want more before. And
I was watching it too. That's why.
and it's what going to be kickstarted. Do we know when?
Wait, is it Kickstarter? I thought it was just going to be sold.
No, I thought it was going to be kickstarted. Most of their stuff has been. Their smaller things have been. Their tag battle thing, I don't even think that came out yet. That was kickstarted years ago.
Huh.
I'm pretty sure it was. I thought it was crowdfunding. What's the name of it? Do you remember?
What? Oh, it's what the name of the space game is, or
yes.
It's called. Oh no, it's just on the Discord right now.
Yeah, and for anyone curious, we're now kind of going into the random other topics.
Yeah, random other topics. Just, but hold on, where the hell did that go? There it is. It's called It's not Archeon, which annoys me. It's Acheron.
Spell it.
Acheron. Acherons. Fallen. So Acheron's Fallen. Acheron? Acheron. Oh, it's Acheron.
It's Acheron. I've been wanting to say history.
It's it's funny. I want to say Archeon because we were talking about GW so goddamn much. So I'm like, yeah, it's Archeon.
I was about to say, I'm like, it's
Archeon. Yeah. You like how it slowly dawned on me too. I'm like, wait a minute.
They talk about Acheron's Fall. I thought it was supposed to be kickstarted.
I thought it wasn't. I didn't think it was. I might be wrong.
Is it not? Maybe not. I'm looking now. I'm not seeing it. Do we have any idea when it's supposed to release? Probably no idea.
No, sadly,
you can test it out if you're in certain areas. Actually, it just passed. Like the 9th and 10th, it was in Madrid. You could go and have tried it out.
They had it at the. There's a convention that they had it at recently.
Yes. Yeah, they had one. They had it in August, then they had it now as well. Yeah, I'm not seeing. I don't remember. Have you signed up or attempted to sign up for the Space Marine 2 beta?
No, I don't know where the hell it is.
So
send me a link, please.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. I'll try to post it as well. But
someone else brought that up, and I was like, no, I had no idea they even had a goddamn beta.
So far, nothing has come from it whatsoever.
Okay,
it's technically like signed up for it, and it said, hey, we know you're interested in this. We'll let you know like when chances are for it. But through the company, essentially, it was on the last GW actually had it posted up when they talked about the game. You could actually find it. It was there. But it's on the companies who's doing it, so their website. You sign up for their betas, and then you tell them what betas you're interested in. That's the only one I was interested in, because I would like to try that when it drops, or before it drops.
God, it looks so good. I'm hoping it's good. Please.
So people who've tried it out so far, because there's been at least like a news outlet or so, everyone has said it's good. It looks good. Okay, the other one was good. I had no problem overall with the other one. So if they just do that with Tyranids, I'm happy. And the way it looks is it feels it's that with plenty of improvements with where you should be from, 9-10 years, that the difference in time it's been.
Yeah.
So overall, I am quite excited about that. But, all right. Anything else before we start to head out?
Nope. Just enjoying painting while talking.
Yeah, still can't.
As per normal.
Yeah, I got a bunch of work to do. I have more painting to do. I got the O12 big box, so now I have 26 more models to put together.
Is O12 the guys with the really, really cool cosmonaut ones, like the giant Terran-looking StarCraft dudes? Is that your faction?
They're mostly in blue and gold, if that's what I'm about. We're the police.
I'm trying to remember. There's this model that I saw, and it's so goddamn cool. But it's this thick model with like basically a space helmet, essentially, right?
It's probably O12 because that's some of our general look is helmets. Yeah. We have a lot of helmets.
It just looked really cool. I was like, that's a neat look.
Yeah. Our big claim to fame is that we get riot stoppers. So essentially, we can lock people down with effectively like a glue gun almost. And we have a lot of immunity to shock.
Nice.
Most of our models are immune to shock. Not counting the ones that have total immunity, but we have quite a bit that's immune to shock. For anyone who doesn't know Infinity, shock essentially means when you take a wound, take the model out. You essentially electrocute them. When you're immune to something, it can't be hurt, but that effect doesn't occur. So if you're like totally immune, even a lot of the other bonuses in the game just don't happen. You're immune to like everything.
Oh my god, total immunity. I ran into that
Yep.
with the stupid McMurrow Wolf Boy, who's apparently immune to goddamn armor penetration.
Yep.
Oh, so
Did he
bad.
do any super jump chain rifles into you?
No, so it was the funniest thing. I shot him with I had my sepulcher knight, the guy that's the a ball in a cup.
Yes.
Where you don't know which one it is. So I shot him for 4 orders, and it's 4 shots each. Yeah, for 4 orders with an AP HMG. So ignore the AP. HMG with +1 damage. Strength 16, right? Massive damage. McMurrow needs like freaking 14s, 15s to survive. Survived all of it. Survived all 16 shots.
Get good, son.
My father knight comes in with his goddamn Spitfire at bad range and goes, shh. Let me show you how Jesus works. Take some to just 0 health with a single round of Spitfire fire. I was just like, get out of here with your nonsense.
That's pretty good. I remember in the past watching McMurrow jump around, just jump up and like hit people like, oh, I'm here.
God, I hated
crack
that
them.
Wolf Boy.
That
was a good game. I was
trying to look up who had total immunity, but obviously I put in immunity.
Hold on, this is going to drive me insane.
Our bronzes had total immunity.
So now that you're looking at that,
yes,
I got to give you the name of the goddamn cosmonaut because it's going to drive me up the wall.
Yeah, if you tell me the name, I can tell you.
He looks exactly like the Terran from StarCraft. Literally the Terran from StarCraft.
It's probably a bronze, is my guess, is what you're thinking of.
Hold on. Wait, there's not a lot of 012. Wait, second page.
No, we got a decent amount.
Okay, maybe it's not 012 then.
I'm not sure which one you're talking about then.
Wait, maybe it's like one of the booster packs? Like the Code 1 stuff?
A lot of our stuff is Code 1. I got to put Pavati together. She's the next one I have to put together.
What the shit? Maybe I'm stupid then? No, it's got to be blue. It was blue and yellow. Oh,
so then if it's blue and like gold, it's 012.
Yeah, but you know what the sad part is? You don't have any boxes under 012. Like it just shows the
Go on Miniature Market and look at the big faction box. That's going to be your best bet.
Miniature Market 012 faction box. It's going to drive me up the wall.
Yeah,
I know it is.
Because that has 26 models. That has like almost everything. There's been some stuff released since, but that has some bronzes and all in it.
No, it's none of these assholes.
No,
maybe it's a new model that they release.
It's possible.
It's going to drive me literally up the wall. Give me a second.
I can tell it already is.
It's Cosmonaut. Like he looks like a Cosmonaut.
But a lot of our stuff has that sort of look because we have a lot of mass in front of our stuff.
Okay, give me a second. Infinity 012. Wait, is it 012 or like 012?
Oh.
Okay, 012 action. I'm just real quick. Just give me a hot minute here because I could really just quick scroll through Google Images. But yeah, none of these are it. Maybe it's not 012. I'll show it to you. I'll swear to God, I'm going to take a picture in the store. And it's going to be like, oh, this is what you were talking about. Maybe it's not 012. You've seen
it at the store. Where have you seen it?
Yeah, on the shelf. It's literally on the front shelf. That's why I thought it was a new model.
Is it in blue and gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of Ramon's 012 models.
No, but it's in a box. It's in a box.
Oh.
And it's a new model. Like it was a newly, like within the past 3-4 months. Maybe it's not 012.
I mean, there's a chance it's not, but that's the color scheme they use for it. So if that's the color scheme you're seeing.
It's like a big, thick dude, and he looks literally like a goddamn Terran StarCraft dude.
I mean, again, it's always possible that it's something else. But by the color scheme, when they do the box art, they do very particular color schemes for each army. They don't intermix them. So if that's the look, then that's what it should be.
I'm gonna go on the Discord. You're gonna watch. I'm gonna go on the Discord, tag you, and just ask and watch Dexter be like, "Oh yeah, it's this," and I'm gonna be like,
"Probably because he knows it."
Yeah.
You sure it's not a bronze? I think you're thinking of a bronze.
What is it called? Bronze? BRNZE?
Yeah. Look up a bronze. There's one in the newer Nyoka pack. There's 3 Nyokas and a bronze. And I have a feeling that may be like the guy you're talking about.
No, it's not. It's okay. It's gonna drive. I'm gonna text. We'll end the podcast like event, but I'm gonna text Dexter in the meanwhile while we're looking, and it's just gonna drive me up the wall.
All right. Well, while he's doing that, then rather than just meandering around while you listen to us try to look up things on the internet, I do want to thank everyone who does listen to us. As always, we put all this out on YouTube. We also put all this out on podcatchers. We do have some additional stuff going out on YouTube. I am finishing up some editing for some Marvel Crisis Protocol battle reports, so you should hopefully get one of those this week. I don't know exactly what day because I'm now back to work, so I actually have more stuff to do than I used to. But you should be getting at least one of those this week, maybe two. For other things coming up, we do want to get back to our deep dives through 40k. We're halfway through Grey Knights, so we might try to get to them, if not this week, maybe early of next week. Variety of other things we'd like to get to. I do want to get back to recording some of the stuff I have in mind for Conquest. We should... Are you going to the event at the end of the month at Toy Wiz? The 30th?
No, I don't think I am.
Okay.
Sadly.
I want to. I just don't know if I can.
Maybe I will. Oh, no, you know why? Because I think next week is the Heresy event. And it'd be too close together. I think I believe...
What Heresy event is next week?
No, not next week. It's like the week after that event.
Oh,
okay. The Heresy event.
If I'm not playing in that event, but if I'm free, I'll show up to help tape stuff there. Yeah. But I'm not playing in it.
I want to say it's next week because I think it's October 6th is when that Heresy event is. So if it is, that's what I'd be going to instead. I'd be using my time for that.
Okay, we'll see.
Maybe the Demon Duels are out.
No, not a chance. However, whenever they do come out, we'll talk about them.
Oh my God, please.
For other things, like I said, we have hopefully get back to some more battle reports. I have a few recorded. We want to get a little bit more of that soon. I start getting my Fridays back, which gives me availability to actually record some stuff on those Fridays. So once we do that, maybe we'll get a few more things. Because of some other reasons, haven't upgraded. But like I said, we got a lot better audio, which hopefully from the Conquest battle report, people heard that. But we have some other ones we want to do. As always, if you want to reach out, variety of ways to reach out to us. We do have a Discord. We always have that in the YouTube show notes. We have a Facebook as well. We don't update that as much, or at least Dan is supposed to. I doubt he does. He puts things everywhere except there.
Yeah. The summer has been...
well, hey, guess what? It's not summer anymore. Yeah,
it's not summer. I know. It's a good distraction.
Hey, there you go. When you post something in 1,000 places, just post there first. There you go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, this summer has been... I haven't even posted. You noticed my Instagram? I just posted the Infinity. I looked at my last post. It was like at the beginning of June when, the shit went down.
Yes.
So
that is true. That is rare for you. Now, I still saw it 10 times because I'm in a variety of other groups with you. However, I didn't happen to see it on your Instagram. So we do have that there. Like I said, we have our Discord. If you do like the content we put out, we do have a Patreon as well. I don't hype it as much right now because we haven't been quite as consistent. But now that we're back to a normal schedule, or back to normal work schedules, we can get more consistent. So I'll hype it more. All right. I think that's about it for other stuff this week. Like I said, you should have seen at least the battle report. Huh?
Did he answer me while you were doing that? Oh my God, he just said good. It's driving me up the wall.
That's
what
driving.
A jerk.
What? Oh, you said it's driving you. You shouldn't have said that. You should have said, "Hey, what's this model?" Hey, don't give someone that form of power over you.
Exactly. Oh my God, it's gonna. I'm gonna see it on the wall, and I'm just gonna toss it out the window. Just
if you see it on the wall, you can see what it says. You could read the box.
I know. It's just, oh my God. I know where it is in the store. That's what even annoys me even more. I could literally picture it in my mind.
You know what's going to annoy you even more? It's not open tomorrow.
Oh my God, it isn't.
No, tomorrow's Tuesday. Rich is not open on Tuesdays. Maplewood is open every day but Tuesday. We're off on Tuesdays. If not, maybe I'll swing on Wednesday. I'll be at least there on Friday at some point this week. So
you know what's funny? I looked at the model identifier for 012 on the Reddit. It's not on there. So maybe it's not 012, but I swear to God it was.
But if that's the color scheme, it's 012.
Maybe it was black and gold? No, it was blue. It was 100% blue and gold. This is going to drive me up the wall.
Is this going to be like that dress?
That's it. Oh my God. He put it. Look on the Discord right now. What is that?
All right, give me a second.
Please. Oh
you know I'm actually terrible at identifying the random models, but I'll take a look.
I will literally Google reverse it. Whatever that is. I don't know what that is. Is that 012?
Probably.
If it isn't, on the general nonsense.
What those? I have no idea what those are. That's not 012. That's not okay. That's a different shade of blue.
Okay, but you understand what I meant by StarCraft Marine now?
Yes,
right?
Those do look like StarCraft Marine guys.
Thank God. Okay,
for anyone,
I don't even care what it's called. I now can see the model and Jesus Christ. Okay,
that's what it looks like.
Oh my God, that feels so good. Oh my God, that feels so good.
I don't know what they are though. We have
I don't
those
know
in
what
the store? I haven't seen those guys.
We have,
Okay.
like, 2
I guess I haven't
boxes
looked
of
at the
those.
wall in a little bit. Okay. They're not O12 because otherwise I would have looked at them and said, "Ooh, we need some of those guys." But no.
Yeah, they look awesome. Like they look legitimately awesome, and they're chunky too. Yeah. Like, but I was looking at that and I was like, oh yeah, they look cool O12, but they're not O12. Then okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just funny that I was looking at that. I was like, I don't remember what they are, and it was just driving me up the actual wall.
Yeah. The rest of this week will hopefully be another battle report. We'll see if anything else comes out. They said we're starting to get back to a normal schedule, so hopefully next week we can start getting back to where we pump out additional content. But otherwise, then on behalf of everyone here at the show, have some good hobbying and some great gaming.